Okay, I've noticed that a lot of people have questions. How do you stop the read option? I guess I've been a little selfish for the simple fact that I wasn't sharing my defense that I used to shut it down. For the simple fact that I had a little scheme with the read option as well as the PA read, and I mixed in some other passes out of it. That was a very quite effective scheme. So, with that being said, I've moved on from that scheme since, and I guess now I'll go ahead and share at least what works for me. There may be other setups out there, but this is at least how I was able to shut it down. Um, Now, notice I'm using the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we know in real life can't stop anyone. So I'm using the team with the weak defense just to show you the effectiveness of this defense to shut down the read option. So you want to pick the formation 4-4. You want to come out and play cover two man. You want to flip it at the play screen. Okay, now the only downfall to this, I'll go ahead and say off top, is if they pass, you have LBs on the field. You have four, but one of them he'll be in the zone, which is the right outside linebacker. And then your other three are in coverage. So you'll have two receivers, maybe a tight end receiver in this case, and then a linebacker on the running back. So you definitely don't want to get beat deep over top. But I'm not really worried about that. But anyhow, let's go ahead and show you how I like to set this up. You want to move him out here and then hook zone him after you move him out. Okay, you want to hook zone your right defensive end. Okay, now depending on the speed of your stick skills as far as getting your pre-snap adjustments in, you could go ahead and back your coverage off. Or what I like to do, I don't like to do that for the simple fact on the right hand side I don't have any zones. So they basically would probably throw curls and out route me to death over there. So what I would do is I would push triangle, Y on Xbox, and then X for individual coverage. And then I want to push square for the receiver on the left hand side. And I want to back him off by pushing up on the D-pad. Okay, now notice I still have my corner on the right hand side and the bump up close pretty much. And then on the left hand side, we know it's easy for them to get beat deep on PlayStation, so we back him off. Now, even if they decide to throw a curl or out route over here, we do have two zones, and hopefully, even though I don't have a buzz or a flat, hopefully, when they see the two zones over there, they're a little reluctant to throw the out, which they would probably beat us with. But considering the fact that we have two zones over there, hopefully they won't throw it. And if they do, then so be it. We could make adjustments and probably put him in a bus, but I don't like the way he plays the read option once we're doing our setup if he's in a bus. So anyhow, let's just assume they're going to run the read option. Enough talking. We got our two hook zones over there. Okay, now what you need to do is hold down L2 on PlayStation, left trigger on Xbox, and you want to hit up on the right analog for pass commit. Okay, now what that does is it forces your two hook zones over here to play as if it was the pass. Now we all know on a read option, the quarterback main read is the defensive end on the read side. So if he stands up, this defensive end that I'm on, then the quarterback will hand it off to his running back. Well, that's great. That's what I want because this is actually close to my run defense that I use to shut down the run as well. So if he hand it off to the running back, it's on lock over there on the right hand side. I guarantee you. If he keep it, then that's what we want as well because we have our two zone defenders sitting right there waiting for him. And then I will also have my free safety who I'm using. Once I notice this is actually the read or the run, then I'll play run support. If I notice it's a pass, then my responsibility is to not let anything get deep over here. Now, what you could do as well, you could put some other zones out here. Maybe spy him and then bust him if they actually have a nice scheme with your top players. Most likely they will, but we actually run into a lot of guys who just run read option, read option, read option, and think that's going to get them the victory. But for the sake of the vid, I'm just showing you how to lock down the read option. So that's pretty much it. I like to put my free safety in a hook or bust so that I can user him. Now I'm going to control two joysticks here, so I won't be able to come down and user run support. But even with me not doing it, I'm going to show you how effective this defense is, and they really don't even need me over there. Okay, I'm going to read the defensive end. He stands up. I should have given it, but I just want to show you how good this defense is versus read option, so I went ahead and kept it. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at the instant replay. Okay, rule of thumb, that defensive end over there stands up. I should have given it, but just look at the right hand side. I have two linebackers in pursuit, and nobody's in front of them to block them. So if I'd have given it, he has absolutely nowhere to go. And my defensive tackle blew up the middle. So even if he tried to cut back, it's a wrap. Okay, so only other thing possible, he could have stayed over here, left, and I have my two zone defenders. Since I pass committed with my two zone defenders over here, they're playing their hook zones well. He has nowhere to go. If I was using, yeah, he may be able to split, but I couldn't split. I tried to right there, I couldn't. I have absolutely nowhere to go. If I cut back in, nowhere to go. I'm gonna have a linebacker in pursuit as well, coming from the right. So as you can see, this locks it down. Let's go ahead and show you one more time. Okay. Again, you want to move him out here. Hooks on him. Hooks on your right defensive end. And then I like to back up my left cornerback so that he doesn't get beat deep and he plays the run better that way so it doesn't get picked up as well. Hook or hook or spy, or you can actually do a flat as well, which allows you to gain control of them instead of dropping back. So now let's go ahead and run it again. Okay, the end stood up, so I'm gonna give it. I just want to show you that you can't run over there either. Okay, now here's another formation that I used to like to run. I've since got bored with it, but this is what a lot of other people run as well. You'll see three receivers on the right hand side, or you'll see two receivers in the tight end, in close on the line of scrimmage, like in the previous video. So nothing's going to change for us as far as our setups. Move him out, hooks on him. You want to hooks on your right defensive end, and then user the free safety. And don't forget to back up your left cornerback, or you can just use the back coverage off. Okay, almost forgot to pass commit. Okay, now I'm set up. Now let's go ahead and make sure our hook zones stay where they're supposed to stay, and they do. And that's actually that time the D tackle blew it up in the backfield, even though the hook zones had my back over there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the instant replay, see how good we did this time. Okay. Okay, I see the hook zones. Rule of thumb, I should have handed it off because that right defensive end stood up. He didn't crack down on the running back. If I did, look at the two linebackers over there. They would have basically shut that down. So, like I said, man, most of your opponents, your top players, they should have a scheme to go with this. So, if we don't zone out the rest of our defensive line, sometimes we do, to try to stop anything on the right-hand side there quick. Maybe put a flat or a buzz out there and spy another D tackle or something. So if they mix in the draw and have other schemes, have a scheme to go with it, I should say, like the draw, PA read, some other pass plays, then it's just a game of cat and mouse as far as whether or not you zone out your line. You don't want to get beat with the draw if they keep trying to abuse that. You definitely want to make adjustments accordingly. So, but as far as shutting down the read option, man, this is what you do. As usual, go ahead and show us some love. Like, subscribe, and you got any questions, man, just ask. We're going to keep them coming.